Hello sweet friends and welcome back to my channel. Today is Word Wednesday and I'm so excited to share with you guys the word that I am wanting to share with you today. Today's going to be a little bit different than our normal Word Wednesdays. It's not so much of a devotional, but more of a guide to how to study this particular chapter. So today we're going to talk about Proverbs 31, and I know Proverbs 31 can be a little bit intimidating for some women, maybe, yeah. And I want to help to dispel that for you and to make this a passage of scripture that you find comfort in, that you find encouragement in, and that you find strength and wisdom in. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, so before we get started, I do want to share that I'm wearing my Proverbs 31 wifey t-shirt from Be Still Clothing. You can't quite see all of it, but it's so cute. I love it. I've had it for a couple of years now, and I don't wear it very often because, let's be honest, Proverbs 31 wifey, that's a high standing. That's it's quite a title. But anyway, I do love this t-shirt, and it's such a great reminder to me of this scripture and why the scripture is super important, I feel, for not only wives, but especially for wives, but I would say for all women, really. So let's take a look at it. It's Proverbs 31. I'm not going to read the entire portion of the scripture to you. It's half a chapter, but it's from verses 10 through 31. And I'm just going to read a few different verses out of that passage. So I encourage you to go ahead and pull it out and study it. And as you do, I think that you'll find a lot of encouragement and use some of the tips that I have to share with you today. Okay, so we're going to start with verse 10 through 12. A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. And as you go on throughout the rest of the chapter, you'll start to see that there are basically like characteristics. So what I really love about Proverbs 31 is that it's not just about one particular wife, right? It's not just about a particular type of role that wives have. And I find encouragement in the fact that there are so many different things that this woman in Proverbs 31 does. And so I feel like you can relate to it no matter what season of life you're in, no matter what it is that you're doing as a wife. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, if your kids are grown and out of the house, if you don't have grandkids, whatever it is, there's something for you to relate to. If you're a working mama or wifey, or if you're not working and you're working at home and taking care of all the things at home, I feel like it really validates and confirms all of the different roles that wives do encompass. So as you read the rest of the chapter, it will go into specific tasks that she does throughout the day, I think, throughout hopefully like a month, because there's a lot of stuff in here. But the first one is she selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. And it just kind of goes on throughout the rest of the chapter. I'm going to pick up at verse 20 and read verse 20 and 21. So she opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. Verse 23, her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. And then verses 25 through 28, she is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. And then it goes on throughout the rest of the chapter to finish off with, charm is deceiving and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. And so and there's another line after that. But what I love about this particular portion of scripture is that it is truly all about the ladies. So it is something that I think is rare in this time that the scriptures were written. It was totally all about men, and even throughout the Bible there are references to the people and like the accounts like when Jesus was performing miracles, there are accounts of the numbers there, but that didn't include women and children. And so this portion of scripture is really special to me because I think it definitely calls out specific things that women and wives are called to do, and the opportunities that we have to honor and bless our households, no matter what our household looks like. Again, whether we're newlyweds, or whether we are empty nesters, whether we've chosen not to have children, or we haven't had been able to have any children, or whether you have a gang of children running around, like 7 little ones running around everywhere and driving you crazy. Whatever your situation is, I think that there's something that you can pull out of this chapter and that you can find encouragement in. The one thing that I love about this chapter, one thing that always speaks to me, one particular verse, is verse 27. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Now, you guys, what is idleness? I mean, this is something that applies to everyone, and especially as my husband and I have been really focusing on our finances, and rather than just letting our finances like be a big scary like elephant shadowy thing in the room, really focusing on them and taking control of them. This is a verse that I've come back to time and time again. She watches over the affairs of her household. And being that my husband is not super loving finances, like he's just not really like minded in that way, it is my responsibility in our household to really manage things, and that's something that I find joy in. And even when I'm feeling like, oh, this is like the worst thing and it's so stressful, I can find comfort in this, because I know that I'm choosing not to eat the bread of idleness when it comes to this portion of our finances, right? This portion of our life together, our finances. And so again, there are just so many different things throughout this chapter that really do resonate with you as a wife, and as a mom, I'm sure also, and that you can find encouragement in. Now, I will say, when you study this, I know a lot of women, and I think it's kind of like a misunderstanding, or hopefully it's like a misconception, that when we read this chapter, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm expected to be all of these things all the time, every day. How am I supposed to, take care of my household and watch my fields and, sew a new garment in silk and flax and all of these things? How in the world are you supposed to do all of these things every day? I want to encourage you to not look at the scripture in that way. What I like to do is, I do 2 things when I study this. One, I will go through and I'll write down all of the verbs. She watches, she cares, she, what else here? She brings, she gets up, she considers, she sets about, she sees, she holds, she makes. So I pull out all of these verbs that this wife is doing, and I look at them and think to myself, okay, where in my week or where in my upcoming day am I going to be doing these activities? And how can I do them in a way that is honoring not only to my household and to my husband, but also to God, and that will, elevate me and elevate my stance of wifiness. I just made that up. Wifiness. But elevate your life and your role as a wife. And so that's one way that I look at it. Another way that I look at this is I'll go through and think about just where I am at in my journey right now in my life, and I'll pick out the verses that apply to me. So for instance, I am out in the workforce, and so one thing that I love to look at is she considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. So for me, those are things that are very applicable to the workforce and to what I do in my role outside of the home and as an employee. So I know that bringing in income is not just something that my family takes lightly. It's something that is profitable and that helps to help my household and to get us to a new level of financial freedom. I think if you're a working at-home mom or wifey, there are so many applicable things as well. Those things can absolutely apply to different areas of your life also, but I particularly look at things like she selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. So I see that as, when you're under piles of laundry, what are we thinking about? Are we thinking, oh my gosh, this laundry is never ending, these kids never stay in the same clothes, I never even stay in the same clothes, and are we choosing to work eagerly, or are we choosing to, again, eat the bread of idleness and to choose slovenly behavior, and rather than choosing to see the blessing in the busyness? right? Working with eager hands, even though we are busy. And my husband says this all the time, like, you never just take a minute to sit and relax. I'm like, the work is never ending. It's never ending. And I can just imagine as a mom too, that the work literally is never ending. You're always up making food for someone, or cleaning something, or organizing something, or straightening something out, or attempting to, do a little bit something for yourself. And the list goes on and on. But if we choose to look at these tasks and these chores and these projects with eager hands, right, and we choose to work vigorously, if we choose to see the joy in these things and the opportunities that we have to bless our family in these things that can seem mundane or small or that aren't really noticed as often as they should be, then we have the opportunity to transform our household and to go from being a wife or a mom who is just working away and not choosing to see the benefit and see the joy in what you're doing, or we can choose to live from a Proverbs 31 mindset and knowing that our tasks are so meaningful and our tasks build our household, right? They help to have our husband to have respect. He's respected among the elders, it says. And that's something that I want to work towards. That's something that I always want to be doing. Whatever I'm doing, I want it to reflect well on my husband and for him to be held in high esteem and for, my future kiddos to rise up and call me blessed. And I'm sure that's what so many of us want and desire in this life. And so I encourage you the next time you take a look at Proverbs 31 to look at it and think to yourself, Lord, what is it that you want me to focus on from these verses, and what area in my role right now are you wanting me to improve on and to make even greater, to bless my family even more than I already do. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. I know it's a little bit different. We're not really digging in and unpacking the scripture, but more just looking at them and how to study them. And I hope it will really change the way that you look at these verses. If you looked at them in kind of like I don't want to read that kind of a light, or if you love them and you have enjoyed them, I hope that this encourages you and gives you a new way to study them and approach them also. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am praying such amazing blessings over you and that you are choosing to see the joy in the work that you do, no matter what your role is right now. Have an amazing day, friends. Don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed it and subscribe for more. I will talk to you very soon. Have an amazing day, my Proverbs 31 wifeys. By the way, you are a Proverbs 31 wife. You own that, girl. That wifiness. Bye, guys.